Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ayah number 214 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Let us continue bihawlillahi wa quwwatih. قال الله تعالى: أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب. Firstly, this word can mean or, as in when you give somebody a choice, this or that. But here it means bal, meaning nay. So this is used when you change topics from one speech to another. The previous ayah, you'll remember, was talking about mankind being upon Tawheed, one ummah, and then they differed and Allah sent the prophets to judge between mankind, and He guides whom He wills. And then Allah slightly changes the topic by saying which means nay. Hasibtum, do you consider or do you think? This is a question form. The Hamzatul Istifham is missing and is implied. So it would read, Bal ahasibtum, nay, do you think or do you consider? An tadkhulul Jannah, that you will enter Jannah. Jannah we have spoken about. Walamma, meaning not yet. Ya'tikum has come to you. It is majzoom bihadf al-ya. It is similar to lam, which also makes the verb majzoom, but lam means something has not happened, and lamma means something has not yet happened but is likely to happen. Mathal can mean sifa, description. It can also mean something which is similar to something else. So in this context it would be, do you consider that you will enter Jannah without such trials as came to those who passed before you? Khalaw min qablikum. Khala yakhlu normally means to be empty, but in the time context it means the days which are bygone, because these are, if you like, empty days, they have gone. So the mathal here refers to the trials that the people of the past had to endure. Massathum, touched them. Al-ba'sa, this refers to poverty. Wad-darra, this is talking about illness, so bodily defects. So one is financial, the other one is biological. Wazulzilu, zalzala yuzalzilu, to shake or to quake something. They were shaken. How were they shaken? Did they experience an earthquake? No, not like that. They were shaken because of the trials that they were suffering. They were shaken with fear. They were shaken with oppression. That's the type of shaking we are talking about, not an earthquake per se. Until the messenger and those who believe with him would say, when is the nasr of Allah, meaning help? Allah, meaning alas. It is a word to grab your attention. Indeed, the help of Allah is near. There are various opinions about this ayah. Some say it was revealed about the Battle of Khandaq, which was an extremely stressful time. Others say it was revealed about Battle of Uhud. Others say it was revealed when the Muhajirun left Mecca, but they left behind their wealth as well. So they travelled empty-handed to a completely new foreign city. And these were all, of course, manifest trials. So reflecting on this ayah, the main lesson to be taken is that you cannot possibly hope to enter Jannah without undergoing various types of trials and tribulation. But also in this ayah, there is a solace given to those who are undergoing trials and tribulation. It is to say that you are not the only one. Every person who is going to enter Jannah has to undergo trials and tribulation, so that you are not being picked on. With these trials, Allah Jalla wa Ala sorts out the real believers from the fakes. Not only that, but with these trials, Allah Jalla wa Ala can raise the status of the believers because of their patience. And so from this we learn the importance of patience in the face of trials. We may also take that the help of Allah, even though it is near, Allah Jalla wa Ala may delay it for a wisdom known to Him. So you see in the ayah, the messenger and the believers, they are asking, when will the help of Allah come? They know it will come. It is just that their patience is being stretched so it's only natural that you will ask for when the relief will come. And in this ayah, it is a corroborating evidence for the hadith which says that Jannah is surrounded by things you hate, and Jahannam is surrounded by desires. Ayah number 215. يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ قُلْ مَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِلْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. يَسْأَلُونَكَ, they ask you, that is to say the companions ask you, O Prophet. However, it can be the case that the questioner is one person. In this case, they say that the questioner was a man called Amr ibn al-Jamuh radiallahu anhu, who asked the Prophet about the spending in charity, that is the optional charity. However, there can be many other people who have the same question in mind. So Allah Jalla wa Ala generalizes it. And Allah answers, say, O Prophet, whatever you anfaqtum, spend, min khairin. Khair normally means goodness, but here it means your wealth, because wealth is something good. Then it is spent for walidain, parents. Walid is a father. Walidan or walidain means literally two fathers, but actually it refers to the mother and the father. Wal aqrabin, and near relatives, from qareeb meaning close, because your relatives are closely related to you. And the yatama and masakin, we have spoken about these words before. You will remember that yatama is plural of yatim, from yutam, which means to be isolated, because the yatim is isolated from his or her breadwinner, who is the father. The yatim is only a yatim as a child, meaning before adolescence. Wabin as-sabil, again we have spoken about this before. It means the wayfarer, one who is on a journey. It is literally the child of the way. Just as a child keeps with his or her parents, so the traveler accompanies the way in which he is traveling. Those birds which hover around the water, they are called Ibnul Ma, the son or the child of the water, because they keep with the water, and he does not have enough to reach back home. And he says, وَمَا, whatever, تَفْعَلُوا, you do. It is majzoom بِحَذْفِ النُّونِ, because it is a verb of the condition. So whatever good you do, any righteous action, charity or otherwise, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. That's clear enough. So reflecting on this ayah, we can take that the Sahaba were eager for knowledge, not just information in their head, but rather knowledge which they act upon. Also, we notice the answer. The answer given is actually broader than the question. The question was, what should they spend? Meaning, how much? But the answer is not only about how much, but to whom it should be spent. And this is a good style of answer, that you answer something which the questioner will need, but has not asked about. As for how much to spend, notice a number is not given. In fact, a number would not even be appropriate, because what you spend depends on how much you have. But Allah is saying whatever you spend, meaning whatever is easy for you to spend, then you should spend it on your parents and so on. Notice he says spending on the yatama, plural of yatim, and then he mentions the masakin, the poor people. It's as if to say that not every orphan is poor. And that is indeed the case. Every orphan is not necessarily poor. But even then, you may spend on an orphan. Why is that? Because the orphan is still in a broken state. He has no father, he has no breadwinner. That puts him still in a vulnerable state, even though he is rich. And so spending on the orphans is still a good deed, even if they are not in need of money. We also take that whatever of good you do, however little it may be, Allah not only knows about it, but will reward you for it. So we may take that you do not underestimate any act of kindness and righteousness, however small it may be. That small, insignificant act may well be the action which tips the balance in your favor on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Ayah 216. كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. كتب meaning ordained for you. القتال fighting. وهو كره from كره يكره to hate something. It is hated to you. وعسى, it's a word of hope or taraji, and it may be that you hate something and it is better for you, and it may also be that you love something and it is sharrul lakum, bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. So you notice here he's talking about fighting. The reason for this is because in the previous ayat Allah Jalla wa Ala has spoken of evil people and righteous people. Now if that's the case, then it's only a matter of time that they will come to loggerheads with each other, and fighting is simply inevitable. So the Sharia needs to talk about fighting, to encourage it, and to set some boundaries and rules and regulation. Okay, so reflecting on this ayah, we find that fighting in the way of Allah is ordained. The details of this are for the books of fiqh, but for sure fighting is legislated. Let's just leave it at that. Notice how Allah says that this is hated for you. Now we need to be careful in understanding this. The actual hukum of fighting is not hated, because if the hukum of fighting was hated, then this would be kufr. No one hates the hukum of Allah except a kafir. But rather what is hated is the inconvenience that fighting gives you. And of course nobody likes inconvenience. We all hate to be inconvenienced and disturbed. That is a natural matter, and you are not taken to account or punished for a natural matter. You may hate to get up for Salat al-Fajr because nobody likes to disturb their sleep. But that is not the same as hating the command to pray Salat al-Fajr. It's the same with fasting. It's the same with many acts of ibadah. They all put you in a state of inconvenience. No act of ibadah is convenient for us. So we may hate the inconvenience, that's not a problem, but we do not hate the order itself, because we know and realize that this is what Iman is all about. Orders and prohibitions which must be respected. We also see the word asa. Like we said, this is a word of hope. Now with Allah Jalla wa Ala, He does not hope for anything, but He uses this word asa so that we may hope. The word asa here is also used for fear, so that you may love something, but it may be that it is bad for you. So this is a fear. Again, Allah does not fear anything, but it is used so that we may fear. Also, Ibn Abbas said that when Allah uses the word asa in the positive sense, then it is binding upon Him. It is obligatory. It must happen. So that you hate fighting, but it is better for you, meaning it is certainly better for you, as in Allah will certainly reward you for it and raise your ranks. Notice also how the ayah is about fighting, but Allah uses the word shay', which means something or anything, so it is more general than fighting. So it could be that you hate something, not just the inconvenience of fighting, but literally anything, and it ends up being better for you. And you could love anything, and it ends up being worse for you. Okay, so how do we decide what we should go for and what we should not go for? Should we go for everything we love, or should we refrain from everything we hate? Well, the answer is our yardstick is the Quran and the Sunnah. This is what tells us what we should go for and what we should refrain from. This tells us what is in the end better for us and what is in the end worse for us. And if there is no particular text on the matter, then of course we have Salat al-Istikhara. And we also take from this that our knowledge is extremely limited, and Allah Jalla wa Ala knows all matters. So it makes sense that we take our lead from Allah Jalla wa Ala, and that we do not put our intellect above the rules of Allah. Wallahu a'lam.